Today the companion application moves report generation out of the HTTP request. An authenticated member requests a report for one owned work item. The API records a pending report, gives Hangfire only that report identifier, and returns 202 accepted with a status location. The response does not wait for report generation. A background worker opens a fresh dependency injection scope, reloads trusted data, produces the report, and records the completion time. A later get returns completed and the generated content. Tests prove the request queues rather than running the job inline. Another account cannot read the report, failures remain visible to Hangfire, and running the same job again does not change the completed result. A background job has three moving parts. The request accepts work, it authenticates the caller, verifies ownership, creates observable pending state, enqueues a small command, and responds. Job storage keeps the command until a worker can claim it. The worker later resolves its own scoped services, reloads the current database state, performs the operation, and records success or throws a failure. This is not task.run. A fire and forget thread inside the request process can disappear during shutdown and gives no durable retry state. The queue is also not the business result. Hangfire knows whether execution succeeded. The report row tells the application what the member may safely observe. Work item report is application state, not a copy of Hangfire internals. It stores its own identifier, the work item identifier, the authenticated owner identifier, request time, optional completion time, and optional content. The status response maps a missing completion time to pending and a present time to completed. The member never chooses owner ID, the request derives it from the authenticated principal. EF-core maps a foreign key to work items, a bounded content column, and an index for owner plus request time. The add work item reports migration creates that table explicitly. Keeping this state in the feature database gives the API a stable, authorized status model without exposing a job dashboard or database details. The endpoint first asks the report service to create pending state for an owned work item. A missing or foreign work item becomes not found, so the root does not reveal another account's data. The scheduler wrapper then enqueues only the report GID. Hangfire serializes job arguments into its storage, which means an EF entity, request service, access token, or large document would be a fragile and unsafe payload. A small identifier survives code boundaries and forces the worker to reload current trusted state. The endpoint returns accepted rather than created or OK because processing has not finished. Its location header points to the authorized status resource, and the response includes the Hangfire job ID for operational correlation. Storage determines whether queued work survived a process restart. The companion stays easy to run by using Hangfire in-memory only in development and testing. That storage is intentionally temporary. Outside those environments, startup requires a separate background jobs SQL Server connection and configures Hangfire's version 1.8 compatibility, simple assembly names, and recommended serializer settings. Add Hangfire Server starts the worker in the web host for this slice. A later deployment can run workers separately against the same storage. We deliberately do not expose the Hangfire dashboard. An operational dashboard needs its own strong authorization and may reveal job arguments or failures. Failing startup when durable storage is missing is safer than silently running an in-memory production queue. The worker receives only the report ID and the job activator supplies a fresh scoped service. Generate async loads the report, exits when it is already complete, then reloads the related work item using both work item ID and the stored owner ID. It creates a small review summary, completes the report, and saves once. The early return makes an ordinary retry after success harmless, content and completion time stay unchanged. Background systems generally promise at least once execution, not magical exactly once side effects. An email, payment, or external upload would need an idempotency key understood by that destination, not merely an in-memory boolean. Today's database write is deterministic and guarded, which makes the retry behavior observable without pretending every external side effect is solved. The job method is deliberately thin and carries a bounded retry policy. A transient database or downstream failure throws through generate async. Hangfire records that attempt, schedules another after 5, 15, then 30 seconds, and leaves the exhausted job failed. Catching exception, writing a log line, and returning would tell Hangfire the job succeeded even though no report exists. Infinite retries are not reliability either, they can hide permanent bugs and keep consuming capacity. 3 attempts make the teaching policy obvious, while production value should follow the operation and service level objective. Cancellation also flows into EF core rather than being converted into success. A test supplies a failing service and proves the exact exception escapes plus the retry metadata stays bounded. The integration test starts the real application boundary with a temporary SQLite database and a recording scheduler. It creates an authorized work item, posts the report request, and proves the response is accepted with pending state, a status location, and exactly one recorded report ID. Because the test scheduler does not execute anything, this also proves the HTTP path did not perform the slow operation inline. The test resolves work item report job in a fresh scope, runs it, and reads completed through HTTP. It runs the same job again and proves content and completion time are unchanged. A second account receives not found for the report. Together with the failure policy test, the full release suite now passes 34 tests. There is one important reliability boundary this slice does not hide. The pending report is stored in the feature database, while Hangfire writes to separate job storage. If the process stops after save changes but before enqueue succeeds, the report can remain pending without a job. Hangfire retries work only after Hangfire has accepted it. For a stronger production guarantee, write the report request and an outbox record in one feature database transaction. A dispatcher can repeatedly publish undispatched outbox rows to Hangfire and mark them sent, using the report ID as an idempotency key. That is more machinery than today's 6 to 10 minute slice, but naming the gap matters. Durable storage, retries, idempotent handling, monitoring, and an atomic handoff solve different failure windows. We added an observable pending to completed report flow, queued only a trusted identifier, reloaded current owned state inside a scoped worker, propagated failures into 3 bounded retries, and made repeated execution stable. Development remains easy with temporary in-memory job storage, while other environments require SQL Server storage and no public dashboard is exposed. 34 tests, the new EF core migration, restore, release build, formatting, model checks, and dependency audit prove the checkpoint. The remaining enqueue gap is documented honestly with a transactional outbox as the production upgrade. Episode 10 introduces the first multi-tenant boundary so identity, background work, and data access all carry an explicit tenant scope,